Hey guys, James here again. This is gonna be what if Deku Katakuri Part 3. Sorry I'm late, it's just I didn't expect the video to hit, you know, that like go pretty as fast. Cause like Part 1 got popular pretty fast, and then Part 2 was like a meh. Like all my videos like are popular at first if they're One Piece related. If they're not One Piece related, it takes like a few hours to get to at least 100. But I'm not gonna complain about that. I thought this was actually pretty cool to me. Also, thank you for 200 subscribers. I believe at this moment I have 201. Probably just 200, but yeah. Let's left off with the forest training arc commencing, and yeah. Pretty sure the next arc would actually be. I'm gonna go over who got arrested. I'm pretty sure I said 5 people got arrested. Muscular, Mustard. Yeah, Midoriya ripped off Muscular's arm. Mustard tried to shoot Midoriya in the head. The bullet bounced off Midoriya's head. Midoriya picked up the bullet, chucked it straight through Mustard's gut. So, yeah, Mustard and Muscular were beat by Midoriya. Magna was arrested, Spinner was arrested, and Moonfish was arrested, leaving Dobby, Toga, Twice, and Mr. Compress. No one was kind of just killed. Like, yeah. Next arc, I believe, is the hideout raid. So yeah. If I say that, I'm sorry. It's just my brother has baby toys on my bed. I'm trying to move them out of the way. What should I do? Midoriya has changed up his gear. Like he's wearing what Katakuri wears usually. And Midoriya actually awakened his quirk. Like he was trying to like meditate and train at the same time, like just having mochi just spray out everywhere, shit taking form. Midoriya learned how to summon the giant mochi fits without using any mochi from his actual body. He can mentally summon mochi. So yeah. So Midoriya can learn how to mentally summon mochi and awaken his quirk again. So yeah. And at this point, he actually developed the tattoos Katakuri has. He developed those, but this time they're just symbols on his body. So yeah, Midoriya's whole thought process after being shot by Mustard was, I'm basically bulletproof. Do I really need all this gear? So he kind of just shedded some stuff. And he wears like the vest. He still has the scarf. Yeah. So what Midoriya is wearing right now is what he calls battle gear. His old hero suit is just what he's going to use for the winter, since it was just a heavy jacket and a scarf, and like some just heavy duty pants. As far as hero name, Sweet Commander is his hero name. So yeah, All Might does suspect All For One is still alive, so usually orders Midoriya to have a search squad. And you guys can already guess, it's going to be him, Mina, Kirishima, and Aizawa. They're gonna go on the search, and Midoriya found the Nomu factory. And he started sensing for something else. He could sense a conqueror spirit in Shigaraki, so he's gonna look for that. He knows Shigaraki can't use it, but he does sense it. And he even told All Might and all of his friends that know about his spirit thing. Shigaraki has it too, and if he does somehow learn how to use it, he cannot be allowed to live. They started asking if there's any way to block it. He said the only way to block it is to have me drop out of UA and have him under my security 24/7, so I can make sure he can't use it on anyone. But I'm pretty sure I can't do that. So, one way is I'd have to kill him, and they can accept there's another way to stop Shigaraki from using his Conqueror Spirit. So yeah, Midoriya will find the bar, and Aizawa will call a bunch of heroes. So Midoriya, Kirishima, and Mina, they're outside the bar waiting for anyone to come in or out. While Aizawa has heroes outside the Nomu hideout. Fast forward 20 minutes later, heroes sneakily gather around the Nomu hideout, like Kamui Woods, Mountain Lady. They're questioning whether they should leave it to those 3 kids. And All Might, not All Might, as I will break it to them, that kid broke All Might's face in one blow, or almost did. I think my girl if almost broke All Might's face in one blow. And whenever he's just like, oh yeah, he can handle those guys. And All Might will appear in his Small Might form, shocking everyone. Like they see All Might walking the alley, like, who's this? As I was gonna look down and say, what are you doing? All Might says, there you are. As he'll buff up and just jump onto the roof. And every hero that's never seen All Might in the Small Might form is like, oh. As I says, are you really okay doing this in front of everyone? All Might says, tonight's the last night I am All Might. Tonight's the last night I dress up in this hero suit and call myself All Might. From after this day, I'm just gonna be plain old Toshinori Miyagi. Because tonight's the night all for one in the League of Villains die. And everyone's shocked to hear those words come out of All Might's mouth. So, yeah. All Might's gonna go hard on All for One. Like, his whole goal is to kill All for One. So, yeah. That's where Midoriya, Mina, and Kirishima are. Aizawa tells them what he's doing, what they're doing, and All Might's okay with this. They just tell All Might that Midoriya has tattoos now. Like, they don't know that it's his quirk just manifested on his manifested something over his body. Let's be surprised thinking Midoriya isn't the kind of guy to get tattoos. Midoriya is not the kind of guy to get tattoos. He doesn't know why his body did that. So, and Midoriya's voice is very deep, scary, and recognizable. So he can't do the whole pizzas here thing. He has to have Kirishima do it. He'll do it, and Twice is being very cautious, but he's strong enough right now. Like, I'm gonna say he actually broke one of his fingers to confirm he's not a clone. So, yeah, Twice knows he's not a clone, so he's not as cautious, but he's being cautious at the same time. He opened the door just to see, like, Kirishima there, and Kirishima just, like, all the heroes can hear from where they are is Detroit Smash. So you hear a loud, like, just boom. And Twice just has like a fist imprint on his stomach as he just falls down. And Toga will try to jump at Kirishima with a knife. Mina just actually looks like she has to take the knife in the hand, but once the knife touches her skin, it turns to acid. Then Mina will just slash one of Toga's eyes using acid, as Midoriya kind of just drop kick Toga in the head, just like kind of giving her a concussion right then and there. And Midoriya can see the wall on like League of Villains hideout isn't big enough for him, so he'll just straight up just lift up that wall and just chuck it into the sky. Shocking everyone in the League of Villains hideout. They're like, oh god, no. And Twice made 2 clones to like distract them, because he was in a cloud of dust by being punched into a wall. So he was in a cloud of dust and made 2 clones that kind of left the hideout through like the holes that Kirishima made. And the clones are duplicating themselves outside, so Midoriya has to face an army once he gets back outside. And Amina's kind of just slashing down some League of Villains. Like, he has to fight Mr. Compress. Midoriya has to fight... Mina just has to fight Mr. Compress, while Kirishima has to fight Shigaraki. Mina has to fight Mr. Compress. And Midoriya has to fight Dabi. So he has to fight one thing that would probably weaken him. Mina versus Toga and Mr. Compress. But Toga is already weakened by having acid splash in her face. So yeah, Midoriya should summon the spear Katakuri has to fight Dabi. And him and Dabi are like, well, Dabi tries to go blow for blow with Midoriya, but Midoriya is a gargantuan, so he's actually just knocking Dabi to the ground, telling him to get back up so he can hit him again. And Shigaraki's seeing how one-sided the fight is, as like Dabi is gonna get decked one time, Midoriya has to get back up, Dabi will try, as Midoriya will just stomp on his head. So yeah, that's where All For One will teleport in, and he's actually gonna just try to steal Midoriya's quirk, but Midoriya actually just wrap his arms around the tendrils using mochi and just snap them off, as the tendrils will drop out of Midoriya's body, and All For One didn't get Midoriya's quirk because Midoriya stopped it. Then he sees Kirishima come and summon like a little bit of lightning, and Midoriya sees the tendrils go for Kirishima. Midoriya appears instantly, just kind of just like he's gonna release his inner fanboy of All Might and yell United States of Smash as he'll just punch All For One, sending him flying. And All For One is confused now. Who's the wielder of One for All? The boy that can harden his body, or the one that can turn into a dessert? Then he remembers what Shigaraki said. The boy that can harden is the one that wields One for All. The giant dessert kid is just powerful. Shigaraki will try to jump at Midoriya for doing that to All For One. They're just gonna actually take down his scarf and bite Shigaraki in the back. So yeah. That's when All For One says, "Alright, I guess it's time for me to do this." Then he'll look closer. An army of Twices are surrounding the area they're in. And Twice is considerate enough to tell everyone in their houses to evacuate. The civilians see him in a suit and agree that they need him to leave. They think Twice is a hero, but he's a villain. Once everyone evacuates, the actual heroes will see everyone leaving. Everyone's evacuating. Good. Then they see the Twice clone surrounding them. Mr. Aizawa says, "Damn it." And he'll jump down saying, "Mirko, you somewhere around here?" Mirko will jump out of nowhere and say, "Yes, I am." As her and Aizawa will go from clone to clone, beating them. Twice has around 200 clones outside. No, she has around 1,000 just surrounding the whole area they're in. Ray will walk outside after biting Shigaraki, and Shigaraki got teleported away. He'll see all the clones surrounding using observation and says, "Oh, this is bothersome. This will use Conquerors and knock out all the clones." Aizawa and Mirko feel the spirit as the clones just fall to the ground in mud. Aizawa says, I guess Midoriya did see the clones. Yeah. We're gonna go to All For One, who got punched halfway across the city. He's gonna meditating, I suppose. He has a healing quirk that he hasn't been able to use for a long time because his battle with All Might left him wounded seriously as well, or left him seriously wounded as well. Then he's actually gonna unlock the healing quirk by forcing it out of his body. So when he actually used it, his head fully healed and he's normal again. All For One says, "Finally, it's been a long time since I could see clearly." Then he'll summon Gantomakia, Dr. Ujiko, and all of the high-end Nomus that Dr. Ujiko had made. And I'm say that All For One has 2 more Nomu factories. And he summoned all the Nomus from there. So there's around 1,000 Nomus in total now. Dr. Ujiko advised that All For One teleport every hero and villain alike to a different area where they can fight fully and go all out. All For One had the best idea. Tartarus. And he'll teleport everyone he can see, so everyone's teleported into Tartarus, or in front of Tartarus. And it's what are we doing here? So All For One do that air cannon thing and get towards the wall of Tartarus as he'll blow it apart. And every villain manages to escape. They'll release other prisoners, kill the guards, and now All For One has an army behind him. And Twice had enough time to recover, so did Toga. Everyone had enough time to recover. And All For One actually will inject his tendrils into the League of Villains, giving them quirk amplifiers. But he did give Dabi heat resistance, so Dabi doesn't burn his flesh whenever he uses his quirk. He gave Toga a healing quirk, and he stole Stain's quirk, Blood Curdle. Stain was the only one that didn't get broken out of prison. So All For One stuck his tendril into Stain, then gave Toga Blood Curdle. So she has healing, Blood Curdle, and her transformation quirk. Then he gave Shigaraki All For One. And Shigaraki gave Mr. Compress a strength enhancer. And he also gave who was it? Who else? Twice got a healing quirk. Wait, I'm gonna go over the quirks that the villains got from All For One. Toga, healing and Blood Curdle. Dabi, heat resistant and strength enhancer. and Mr. Compress, and so yeah, those main. Mr. Compress didn't get a quirk, and then the rest of the villains that is able to walk come out, or that are able to move come out. Moonfish is out. Muscular is out with one arm. Mustard is out with this time a rifle, not a pistol. And Sharky says, and he'll inject quirks into all the villains as they're using just random ones. And there's some quirkless villains as Sharky will inject some quirks into them. And that's when Kirishima says, "All Might, me and you need to take down All for One. Can everyone else just take out League of Villains and the prisoners?" Ray says, "I'm already on it." As he'll clasp his hands, and everyone in shock to see 5 giant portal emoji appear behind him. As he says, "Mochi Grand Slam," as they'll turn into clubs and just bash the prisoners. And they're all down for the count. Sharky's like, oh, 1 attack, 5 attacks, knocked out a whole army. Mario just dispersed them, saying, "All right, that's a lot of energy. All right, give me like 10 minutes. I'll be back to normal." It's like Mario just like sit down behind All Might and just take a deep breath. He's like, oh. Because Midori just used all of his energy to use that one move. And everyone's surprised Midori could do that. But then we see his tattoo retreating up his body. Mostly one prisoner actually has a teleportation quirk as a natural one. Try to get Midoriya with a knife. Midoriya's first instinct, bite him. So actually just bite the guy's side and bite as hard as he can. And then he's over the guy's ribs, and Midoriya's bite shatters his ribs and drops the guy. Midoriya stands up as he actually gains some energy from drinking some of the guy's blood. Midoriya says, "Get a little energized." I thought he just rushed towards the League of Villains. Then he says, "All right, don't worry about me. Take down So don't worry about the rest of the villains. Just take down Shigaraki and All for One. I'll take care of everyone else." Which he tells Aizawa to help him. So Aizawa will help. Midoriya's taking down the League of Villains, so he has to face intense heat. Mr. Compress using a speed boost now. But Midoriya's observation is faster than any speed boost, so anytime Mr. Compress gets too close, Midoriya can just deck him. At one point, Mr. Compress does get close enough to Midoriya, where Midoriya actually will summon the giant spear he has right here just from his stomach as it just stabs Mr. Compress. Mr. Compress barely even got close to Midoriya. Well, he was close enough to touch him, but he's kind of in shock from being stabbed. Midoriya kind of just kicked him away. And Toka's going to try to stab Midoriya until he hits her in the back with the spear. It's not going to stab her, but it's going to just knock her to the ground. She's just going to yell, "You owe me for my arm," as he'll try to punch Midoriya. Midoriya says, "I owe you. I'll take your other one." As he'll just stick his fingers in the muscular's shoulder and rip his other arm off. And basically just passes out due to his anger is overwhelming, and his pain is overwhelming, so he passes out. And he'll look at Mustard, who's aiming a rifle at him. Mustard is trembling. He tries to fire as much bullets as he can at Midoriya. They're bouncing off Midoriya's body. By the time Mustard enters the clip, Midoriya has 1 bruise. That's it. And Mustard just gets on his knees and says, "I surrender." And Midoriya says, "Okay," as he'll just step him on Mustard's head, knocking him out. And we're gonna fast forward 2 hours. Until Makia, Dr. Ujiko, and the army of 1,000 Nomus appear now. Now they have a literal army. As Twice was in hiding, trying to generate enough energy to create more clones. Then Twice said Sadman's Parade, as dozens and dozens and dozens of clones appear. Now, Blue Villains has an army of 10,000. And Midoriya just says, "Oh, this is going to be a pain." As he tells everyone to get off, the one area of that Tartarus is on. So that Tartarus has, there's, a bridge linking them to the actual, mainland, but there's an island with a bridge. And they're fighting the bridge right now. And everyone will actually just obey Midoriya as he'll puts his hand on the ground and says, "All right, this should have enough energy to at least wipe out a little over half." as he'll just like go a full out awakening, and the bridge and Tartarus to turn to Mochi. It was like just dozens of giant Mochi Midoriyas appear, but by giant I mean like they're hundreds of feet tall. Like the biggest one's 200 feet. They start stomping down the League of Villains, Nomus, and Twice clones. By the time that's done, the bridge and Tartarus are back to normal. The Mochi Midoriyas disperse. Midoriyas pass out. Kirishima's the first one to his aid. As Midoriya in like 10,000, they now have 2,000. So yeah. And All Might thanks Midoriya for his bravery. And All Might's just a small Might form the whole time. Like he was like, the moment he saw Midoriya use Conquerors, he's like, and this will be over the faster than I think. But he was wrong. And he'll buff up and say, Kirishima, let's go. Right, now it's Kirishima versus Shigaraki and All Might versus All for One. So yeah. So that fight's going on as Class 1A is just watching. They had all the attack Midoriya used. They were surprised. Some of the only things that are like out of the 2000, only one of the high-end no moves was beaten. That's because its brain was stepped on. One of the high-end no moves had to rush to knock out Midoriya. I feel like Midoriya's body is pure instinct. His arm will turn into Mochi, and it'll slice the no moves like brain in half. So yeah. AndMina's like, your body has some fighting instinct. As she's trying to drag the 1,000-pound Midoriya away from everyone else. Like Mirko and like 2 other heroes have to help in to carry Midoriya away. And ambulance arrives as they drive Midoriya somewhere else safely. Like not too close to the battle, but not far away from it. After about 2 hours, the battle is almost over with like 500 on the villain side, and All Might didn't beat All for One, but All for One didn't beat All Might. All Might is like in his half transformed state, and Shigaraki is just covered in blood as he's just smiling horribly. Kirishima has one arm just completely missing from his body, since Shigaraki used Decay to the max on it, but Kirishima also hardened, so the Decay didn't go all the way up his body, it was just his arm. But Shigaraki shouldn't be laughing as Shigaraki is losing blood from almost every part of his body. And his healing quirk is not working too well, since it doesn't work well for All for One. And Shigaraki got a direct quirk copy of All for One from All for One. So whatever quirk doesn't work well for All for One won't work well for Shigaraki. And they're in even more trouble as Gentomaki is deciding to join the fight now. So Midoriya wakes up and starts walking to the battlefield, and he has enough energy to actually fight. Gentomaki thought to rush Kirishima. And once Gentomaki's fist gets within at least 2 feet of Kirishima, Midoriya is just he catches the fist and says, bad choice. And so actually just use one giant Mochi fist and turns it into a blade and slashes Gentomaki in half. And All Might says, young Midoriya, are you okay? Midoriya says, you told me to lead the assault team, right? Well, I'm giving the orders now. Go for the kill. And every hero just sparks up with finally. And the villains are now terrified that Midoriya gave the order to kill them. Jim will harden his other arm to the max, saying, I'm taking Shiraki's head as a trophy. And he'll actually just Sorry about that. Those continuous grunts were me telling my brother to get out of my room. Kishima will say he's taking Shiraki's head as a trophy. Midoriya says, why not an armor a leg? And Kishima can tell Midoriya's making a joke as he'll actually blitz Shiraki and take the same, say Kishima's missing his left arm. So Kishima will take Shiraki's right arm. Like you took my right arm, I'll take your right arm. And Shiraki's impressed with how much speed Kirishima just used. Kirishima's impressed with his speed as well, since he just used around 500% of One for All. And yeah, Kirishima, like with his adrenaline rush right now, his body cannot feel pain. So right now his body isn't broken, but there's heavily bruising. There's heavy bruising on his bones right now. Midoriya's like gonna use observation to scan Kirishima's body. Midoriya will say, Kirishima, if you use that much power again, you might actually destroy every bone in your leg. Kirishima's gonna say, alright, I'll tone it down as he goes 300. And he's still blitzing Shigaraki, just like kind of just punching him in the face. And All Might is like going for the kill on All For One. Like All For One try to use his biggest attack, like the giant fist, and All Might's using all of One For All in just one gigantic form. And All For One's usually not All For One. All Might's usually like 7'6" in his Buff Knight form, because of how much force of One For All is being ejected into All Might's body. All Might's around 9 feet tall just because of pure muscle, and he's actually blitzing. It's like All Might's body is going to its max, so he's using around 200% of One For All. And I can say that in canon, right now, each of All Might's punches is actually enough to compare to one United States of Smash in canon. At one point, All Might kind of just jump in the air and deliver a double axe hand to All For One's head. And to All Might's horror, well, not really, to everyone else's horror, it splits All For One's head wide open, killing him. And Rory's kind of just fighting Gantomakia, and the whole fight's one-sided. Like, Gantomakia will go for a punch, Rory's going to turn his arm into a club and just smack it. And Gantomakia sees All For One die. He'll rush at All Might, and to Gantomakia's shock, his head's on the ground. The moment Gantomakia turned away from Midoriya, Midoriya turned, he summoned the giant, like mochi hand, and then turned it into a blade as it sliced off All For One's head, not All For One, Gantomakia's head. And Gantomakia will kind of actually lose consciousness fully and die. And Shiraki is kind of just beaten to a bloody pulp, like, my healing won't kick in. And Kirishima will just say, I'll give you a fate worse than death. I will kind of just punch a hole through Shiraki's side. And then I'll grab Shiraki by the hair and just toss him into the water. And Shiraki has to figure out a way to live. And Mina's fighting Toga, Mr. Compress, and Dabi by herself and winning. Like she's like, you said go for the kill, I'll go for the kill. As Dabi is almost missing an arm. Or Mr. Compress is just missing a leg and an arm. So he's on the ground, just not even fighting. He's kind of just in shock. And Toga is still missing an eye. He's trying to throw knives at Mina, but the moment they touch her skin, they just turn to acid. Mina's quirk is always active because of her, if Mina's awake, her quirk is active. So yeah. At one point, Mina will actually just punch Toga in the throat, kind of just making her lose consciousness because you can't breathe. And Dabi will launch a large-scale fire blast. And Rory's done with his fight, so he'll tank the blast. Then he says, your name's Dabi, right? Me and you still have unfinished business. And he'll actually extend his arm, grabbing twice, and say, we also have unfinished business. And Midoriya's fighting around 20 twices and 1 Dabi, so yeah. In about 20 minutes later, Dabi's head is under Midoriya's boot, and then Twice is being held by the neck and Midoriya's arm. Midoriya won. And Toga has a giant spear of acid through her chest. Well, not through her chest, more like through her gut. And Midoriya just says, throw their bodies in the water, and they'll do exactly that. Midoriya knows Shiraki got out of the water, so it's shouldn't we just kill them like you said? Midoriya said, I was ordered to lead this assault, and my order is to leave them alive, and let them figure out a way to live and recuperate. Because I can already tell, if we'd have killed them now, we'd have looked like demons. Actually, Ujiko is just panicking as he's just he's hiding in the remains of Tartarus, just panicking oh god. And the High Nomus actually they have a personality of their own, and they're too scared to budge. They don't want to fight. They're too scared. But Midoriya doesn't see them, so just kind of blitz them, and just slashed in pieces using his hand, covered in ornament. So yeah. I'm gonna go as far as say this Midori can probably scale to around the Mihawk that I made recently. Like the Deku I made in the What If Deku was Mihawk can probably compare to this What If Deku was Katakuri. So those two probably clash, and it's probably gonna be a my Mihawk Deku is probably gonna beat this one, but barely. So yeah, so this Katakuri would win. This Katakuri can use max out ornament in observation in Conquerors. So yeah. Rory will say that they win as Mario kind of just collapse. Like everyone else fighting just collapses, and Onyx like barely even able to keep on to his transformation until he'll pass out while puffing the Small Might. So yeah, paramedics come pick up everyone, and around 10 heroes were sent to the hospital, and they're counting the 3 UA students. After about 1 month, everyone wakes up. Like everyone got put into a coma just to how much they were fighting. Well, Midoriya, I'm gonna say Midoriya, Kirishima, and Mina are the only ones out for a month. Kirishima was actually out cold enough to actually go through surgery. So Kirishima now has like a prosthetic arm that he can't use his quirk in. You know, let's see. Yeah, he can't use his quirk in his metal arm, but he can use One For All in it. All Might still has One For All, but he can only use his buff form for 10 minutes. And All Might's okay with this. He's like, 1 or 2 crimes a day. So yeah. And they did find some of the villains' bodies. Like, I'm gonna say Mr. Compress actually died. Like, he was on the water, and they found his body there. They found one of Toga's arms. Like, when Mina threw her into the water, a rock fell on it, and they found Toga's arm. So Toga swam off with one arm. So they found Ultraman's body, and they found Gantomaki's body, along with everyone else that tried to escape Tartarus. Stain was the only good prisoner. Stain was the only good one. He remained quirkless. So yeah. You like Stain not being able to leave Tartarus. He actually was given a normal life, but he has to stay away from certain people. Like he has to stay out of society's eye. He can only leave his house to get food, and that's it. Get food and then get like socialize for like 20 minutes. That's it. Yeah. I believe the next arc would be provisional license exams. This time Midoriya is actually given the option not to do it, but he wants to do it. And they were delayed for a month because of Midoriya and Kirishima and Mina. But when everyone wakes up, Kirishima has a middle arm that he can't use quirk in, sadly, but he can use One For All in it. Mina has a pretty sick scar on her eye, and like 1 or 2 stab wounds that she didn't notice. Then, like, at one point, Mina actually passed out in the middle of the fight, and her body was using the quirk at random. Toga was able to get around 3 stab wounds in, and Midoriya's body just covered in scars and bruises. And that's when like one of the doctors will point out Midoriya actually bit someone hard enough to the point where his jaw actually almost snapped clean off its plate. So Midoriya has actual stitches in place of his like usual eel mouth. Where Katakuri usually has like those black outlines, like he was born with those. Midoriya now has like his are around his skin tone because those are actual stitches now. So, yeah. And everyone like from Class 1A, Class 1B, they're all there to check on Midoriya, Kirishima, and Mina. The heroes woke up like after a week. Once Midoriya realizes that he's perfectly fine, he can move, he has a lot of energy, he'll just jump out of bed. And he jumps out of his hospital clothes and he goes naked. He doesn't even care. He'll walk out of the hospital room, grab his clothes, walk back in. Midoriya's okay. Like, see, he lost enough weight to the point where his shoulders aren't as broad, so he can't just like duck under doors, duck through doors. But he did grow an extra 5 feet, so he's around 20 feet tall now. So Midoriya has to remain crouched at all times. Uh, Kirishima and Mina stand up, and they put on their clothes that are in the room. Kirishima just has shorts on while he actually. I think he has found like some ace wrap or something, like some bandages, and just wrapped that around his robotic arm. Saying, and I'm in a surprise, as we'll just coat it in one for all. Class 1B doesn't see like him use the one for all, but Class 1A does. Class 1B will leave, trying to give their classmates some privacy, solo nurses and doctors. And All Might will give the full story of his quirk to Class 1A, saying, it's called One for All. The man that we fought there was named All for One. He created the quirk, but only for evil. And he wants the quirk he created back, but I won't allow him to have it. And I'm pretty sure All Might was the 8th user. So All Might says, I was the 8th user of this quirk. Kirishima is the 9th. So he cannot use his quirk in his right arm. We can't use his hardening quirk in his right arm. We can't use One for All in it. So Kirishima can still be a hero. Class 1A is just shocked. They asked if like Midoriya and Mina have One for All too. Especially Midoriya. All Might says, no, I refuse to give them One for All since they were powerful in their own right. And they'll be in shock saying, wait, he was already this powerful? Like just pointing at Midoriya, then pointing at Mina saying, she can already turn stuff to acid automatically. Kishina says, quirk-wise, Mina was stronger than me. Strength and quirk-wise, Midoriya was stronger than me. But I'm pretty sure if I didn't get One for All, Mina would be the strongest out of all three of us if she just kept strengthening her quirk. Physically, quirk-wise, I'm in between them both. I'm above an average UA student in terms of using my quirk, but I'm below these two. And I might actually break it to them that they have the quirk exam tomorrow, the provisional license exam. Midoriya's just gonna jump back in the hospital bed and just sleep. He's not even gonna eat, he's just gonna sleep. He wakes up, actually eats, and drinks some water. This time Midoriya actually there's a water truck driving by to just. And Midoriya will stop it, get the water from the back of the truck, and just drink the whole thing. And he'll hand like the driver 10,000 yen. It's like, go on. And Kirishima and Mina saw him drink the whole thing in a second. And he'll eat a whole feast. So Midoriya's back to being giant with the broad shoulders again. And the provisional license exams will start. And the balls, we have to throw them and stick them to someone. It's going a lot different. The Crusher UA is backfiring. It's supposed to be the Crusher UA. Now it's the Crusher of every other school in UA site. Midoriya's they try to throw the balls at the UA, just crushing them. Midoriya's gonna catch all the balls using summoning a giant mochi hand and throw them back. And they already knocked out 20 students alone. Kirishima's gonna use his quirk, One for All, and just catch the balls and throw them back. He knocked out 5 students. Any ball that comes within Mina's vicinity, she's going to turn to acid, then turn it back to her normal state, as she'll throw them back. That knocked out 4 students. So those 3 are the first ones to eliminate people. So in the end, Class 1A passes that the first part within the first 20 minutes by knocking out Shiketsu, except for Inusa. Inusa, the guy that can control hair. This time it's the actual Kami. Toga's too weak to take her blood. And the guy that can make meatballs. Those 4 are the only ones that are left from Shiketsu. Rescue. Midoriya did ask if he can just not show his face, since it does scare people. They're okay with this. Yeah, we know your whole thing. You're a very scary guy. And when it came to like lifting rubble, there's like a temple of rubble above someone. They're like, you have to pull me out a certain way. This rubble's too heavy. Midoriya put his head and his arms under the rubble and lift it up perfectly. Izzo just kind of just drop it in the back. One of his rubble was at to drop on the guy. Midoriya just used one finger and caught it and just tossed it. And it's like, amazing. Midoriya turns his arm to an emoji and just say, as I carry you, you can eat the mochi all you want, just don't eat too much or else I might drop you. And by the end, Midoriya has around just 90 points in total. And it comes to Gang Orca's guys showing up. Class 1A is left with the responsibility to fight them. Just because everyone, like, they typically tell everyone, retreat, and I guess, just make sure no civilian is hurt. Midoriya goes toe-to-toe with Gang Orca, and then Kirishima says, tag me in. And Mina says, Kirishima, me and you need to double team him. Midoriya will duck as like tons of like wet cement will be fired at them. He's gonna make a wall of mochi and just catch the cement. Midoriya turns back around to see that like Kirishima use like a 50% Detroit smash using his metallic arm on Gang Orca's head, kind of just knocking out Gang Orca. At the end of it, Midoriya will disperse his wall of mochi using spikes this time, as it just captures all of Gang Orca's men, since he nails them to the wall now. And that gives Class 1A got their professional licenses. Like, no one failed. Like, Ines was the only person that failed because he had a grudge against Todoroki, but Todoroki ignored the grudge. It's like, you're the only one with a grudge. You don't want to interfere, I'll leave you alone. Yeah. I guess this concludes part 3. I'm reading My Hero manga again, so I'm probably gonna go through like every arc. So you guys have a good day, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good night for me, so it's 9, but yeah. You guys have a good night.